From Screen to Shelf.
What is going on, everybody? This is Gabe and Chase with From Screen to Shelf. We are into a very special episode today. This one's going to be very unique. Chase and I were kind of talking about what kind of video to do, and we kind of came up with this idea. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be kind of stressful, though, to try to get through it. I'm not sure. I mean, we might agree. Who knows? We may or may not agree. But what we're going to be doing is we are going to go through all of the Batman films. And granted, we're not going to do a lot of the animated films. There's just so much Batman content out there. But we kind of narrowed it down. We have the Adam West film. We have the two main animated films. It's Batman Mask of the Phantasm, Sub-Zero. We have the Tim Burton films. We have Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, the Christopher Nolan trilogy, Batman versus Superman, and the most recent one with Matt Reeves, the Batman. So we're going to try to rank these movies. The only part of this is that we have to completely agree on the ranking. We are going to time ourselves and give ourselves 1 hour. I'm going to start the timer here in a second. And we have 1 hour to try to come up with a ranking system that we both agree with and that we're both happy with. If we don't do that within 1 hour, we fail the challenge pretty much. So this is going to be kind of like a time-based thing. We're going to debate the movies a little bit. It'll be cool because each movie will get a little bit of time to shine. Yeah. You ready, Chase? You think we can do this, dude?
I'm ready because the first one's already going to probably be our most time-taking one.
Yeah, I mean, well, as soon as I hit start, we can kind of talk about maybe how we want to approach it. If we want to start from the bottom or for the top. I know we probably got to talk about that, but let me know when you're ready, brother, and I'll start the timer.
I'm ready, my man. Let's fire.
All right.
Rip.
Ready, set, go. The timer has now started. So what part of this do you want to start with? You want to start on the bottom tier or top tier?
Let's just go. I think it would probably be smoother. What we can do is we can just go from oldest to newest, right?
Oh, okay.
Go down memory lane. Let's do it that way. And
I agree with that.
And then because it'll leave it a little bit more diverse. You know what I mean? So that's why I was thinking that the very, very first one is going to be probably the most time consuming because I fucking love Batman 66. I love he is my favorite Batman. I love Adam West Batman, man. Now, of course, it's not a perfect movie, but it's just a fun movie, man.
Well, I think we both agree that it's a fun movie. And that this is what's interesting is because like your approach to Batman might be different from my approach to Batman. And Batman 66 is very much just campy fun. Like it does not give a shit. Yeah. It's just like literally Batman running with a bomb and fighting a shark and surfing. Like it's just like everything that's beyond ridiculous.
Yep.
That's Batman 66. Now I guess let's start it like this. Where would you put it on the ranking system? So see, maybe we might agree, maybe we might disagree.
I wouldn't put it any lower than a B.
Oh shit. I see. I was gonna say C, but you know what? Let's throw it on a B. Like it may change later, but we can throw it on a B. I mean, it's a fun movie. I think that what I like about it the most. I mean, Adam West's killer is Batman, and that show. If you guys have never watched it, I used to grow up watching some episodes of that show as well. It's a fun show, man. It's campy. It's ridiculous. I mean, Batman, Penguin. I think Batman and Penguin were in this one, right? Because I haven't seen it in a minute.
And Catwoman, Joker, Penguin, and Catwoman.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's super fun. And it just embodies everything 60s comics. You know what I mean? That's one of the biggest reasons I like it. It's so appropriate for its time.
I agree with that. I think it's pretty reflective of the 60s. And I mean, it's not a bad movie by any means. It's just we can put it on B, but I think it's just when we start slapping these other movies on here that I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's okay. We'll leave it there. I'm not saying that it can't move though, bro. Like that might move when we get further along here, but we'll see.
Okay.
This one's tough,
this one
dude.
You love. You love this one.
I freaking love this movie, dude. I honestly think this is like, I want to say like this is S or A tier for me. Mask of the Phantasm, I think it's, there are a lot of animated Batman movies. I mean, you've watched a lot of the animated stuff too.
All of it, yeah.
Yeah,
I think they're great.
There are great stories in them, man. I just think Batman Mask of the Phantasm, it's such a mature story. I think like even though for it being kind of the animated series, so to speak, and the animated series back in the day was kind of made for kids, but I think when they made this movie, dude, it just has a really mature story, and there's just a lot of really good character development, and how the ending plays out with Joker, and when you get the reveal of who the Phantasm is, it's pretty dark.
It is.
It's a really, really good story. I would probably put it. I've heard people saying this is like the best Batman movie of all time, which it's hard to debate that, but I'd maybe put it at an A for now. I don't know what you think. What do you think of Mask of the Phantasm?
Honestly, I'd agree probably with A. It's been, when did the 4K come out? Like 2 months ago, 3 months ago?
A few months ago, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the last time I watched it, and it was great. I don't think it is phenomenal, and I think even if they just simply adapted this or a similar story with such original premise, taking unknown characters and giving them a platform and stuff like that, like they do with Mask of the Phantasm, that's why I really think this shines with the reveal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Towards the end, it really lets people that aren't in his main rogues gallery really, really shine, and that's why I really, really like it. It's very superb, a phenomenal 4K transfer. I think I would agree with an A for right now, but I wouldn't be opposed to an S. The only reason I would is because I like the next one more. That's the only reason.
Really? Okay, so then we're gonna have a problem here because the next one is Batman Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero.
That
Such
needs a
an
4K
emotional
transfer.
story.
Yeah, very emotional story. It needs a 4K transfer. This came off the heels, I think, of Batman Mask of the Phantasm, just because Mask of the Phantasm was just so well received. I don't remember if this actually did this have a theatrical release like Batman Mask of the Phantasm, or was it direct to video?
Let me check on that.
I think it was direct to video. I could be wrong.
That sounds right. Sub-Zero movie.
Yeah. This is where we disagree. I like Sub-Zero. I think it's a really good movie. I don't think it's Mask of the Phantasm tier, though. It's a really good emotional story, and I think they really utilized Mr. Freeze really well. Like, I think they really almost, I want to say humanized him. You know what I mean? Where it's where it's you can kind of really relate, and I think that's why both of these movies, Mask of the Phantasm and Sub-Zero, do so well, is because you can actually relate to the freaking villains.
Yeah.
They're just not there for like Marvel movies where they just throw villains in there and they don't really utilize them. Like, I think both these movies utilize the villain well. I'd probably give it a B, though. I don't know if that's blasphemy to you, or
it's not really blasphemy. The only reason I wouldn't say it's anything less than Mask of the Phantasm at the least. And the biggest reason is I think that this was the story where we get our modern Mr. Freeze. Like a lot of people within our age and our demographic and everything like that. This is the story that really introduced the Mr. Freeze that isn't really a villain as much as he's really a human that you can connect with, a person with motives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With Nora, like you even get that in the Arkham games. And I feel like this is the movie that really cemented that story for him. He's not even my favorite rogue. I just think it's super emotional. It's a very tight, it's like 67 minutes, something like that.
Yeah,
and this was straight to video, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, man. I really don't think, I mean, I think I could be okay with a B because it doesn't have as good of action sequences because it is directly just Joker, or not Joker, Mr. Freeze and Batman,
Yeah.
So it's not as broad of a story. I wouldn't be opposed to a B, but whenever we go to finalize this
I think
list,
I think we're going to be able to slap these on as we go, but I think the problem we're going to run into is when we start finalizing. Yeah, we're just kind of estimating right now.
Yeah, shout out that movie sincerely. I don't see that one get talked nearly as much as, and another one that we forgot that we could even throw out there is the Batman Beyond movie.
Oh yeah, dude,
that one's really, really good. I think it's just as good as Mask of the Phantasm, even though I'm personally not as big of a Batman Beyond fan. Shout out that while we're talking about it. I've seen that series 3 times, super obsessed with it whenever I was a kid. And the thing is I challenge anybody out there, because anytime I bring this to somebody's attention, they can still watch it. It's a perfectly great series. but in every single episode, Terry McGinnis, I think that's his name, Terry McGinnis, right?
Yeah.
So he always gets pinned underneath something in every single episode, like a bookshelf, rocks, or something. And he always does the same thing where he rocket propels out of it. Every single episode, man. Every single time.
If it
There's
works,
not
don't like just keep using it.
just reuse it. Basically, like just reusing the same still. But yeah, shout out that one. And I wanted to address that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I've honestly I think we've talked about it on the server or the Reddit. I don't remember where it was, but I've always advocated that I wouldn't mind a live action Batman Beyond movie or like its own kind of franchise on the side, because I think that franchise just really has a lot of really great elements to it. Yeah, and it has a lot of good potential. I've heard people even like if they did something kind of like Spider-Man, where it's like Beyond the whatever the Beyond the Spider-Verse, that kind of animation style with Batman Beyond. Someone did kind of like a test thing of it, and it looked freaking amazing. And I wouldn't mind seeing something like that at all.
That was actually an animator for the Spider-Verse movies that did that.
Oh, did you know that's why it looks so. No, I didn't know. I saw the art of it, and I'm like, that looks freaking incredible.
But yeah, it was him trying to get word of mouth saying, "Hey, we've been trying to make this movie, but Warner Brothers won't let us. So here's what we've been trying to do." Is what I took it as. But yeah, it wasn't just some fan art. It was actually the people that worked on Spider-Verse are trying to get that made.
Well, dude, I mean, yeah, Warner Brothers needs to freaking listen, man. Because like that, I would see that great. Day one. It looked freaking phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to complicate things with Batman Beyond. I probably leave it out of this just because this is already going to be difficult enough. But I love Batman Beyond. It's a great freaking series. I need to pick up that Steelbook. I got it. I procrastinated on it, dude. It's what is it, like $50, I think.
55.
Yeah, I gotta pick it up.
Yeah, it's a good. And shout out that movie. That's one of my favorite twist endings in any Batman. That Batman Beyond movie. It's great. Not including Batman Under the Red Hood, which even then we could do a whole just animated tier because Under the Red Hood is my personal favorite one.
I love Under the Red Hood.
Yeah, that one's really good. But now that we're done with that animation, now this is probably where things get a little bit more debatey.
Yes.
Because those ones are easier to agree with, especially they're products of their time. But the two movies we just talked about were heavily influenced because the animated series was super heavily influenced by the Michael Keaton / Tim Burton Batman verse.
Yeah.
How do you feel? I'll let you open this one up. How do you feel about the Jack Nicholson, Michael Keaton Batman?
I really like it. I think it's freaking phenomenal. I think it's kind of hard, man. I don't think it's aged as well as Batman Returns, which is going to sound kind of weird to some people, but I think the reason being, I think when Batman 89 came out, it was dark for 1989. Like when that performance of Jack Nicholson came out, I remember even reading like some people were like disturbed by it, and it was, it was dark for, it's time. But I mean, nowadays you go back to it, it's kind of, it's dark, you know what I mean? But it also kind of has its campy fun kind of to it, at least my interpretation when I go back and watch it again. So I don't think Batman 89 has aged as well as Batman Returns. I think Batman Returns, when you watch it now, I think it's still pretty dark. It's still a pretty dark story. I love both of them. I think they're both fantastic movies. I don't know which one I would rank over the other. I know most people would probably rank Batman 1989 as being over Batman Returns, because the story for Batman Returns is kind of a little bit ridiculous, and the interpretation of the Penguin is a little bit wonky and weird.
Danny DeVito, bro.
He killed it, dude. I like it. I mean, I really like Batman Returns. So, I mean, I'd probably put Batman 89 and Batman Returns. They're probably going to be in like this is hard for me. B tier, maybe B or A tier.
So, okay, I'll make my case. Because you're not too far off of the same thoughts. I agree. One of the biggest things, which I can't really complain too much about because it happens in Batman Returns, is the stiff action style for Michael Keaton in the suit. You know what I mean? That was one of the biggest like drawbacks I had of trying to get like fully immersed. Like he couldn't just turn his head. He had to like turn his whole body. You know what I mean? And then, I adore Jack Nicholson's. Like they even have that little Clockwork Orange-ish kind of reference with the hotel room or the apartment complex.
Yeah.
With Jack Nicholson in there. I adore a lot about it, but story-wise, it's not particularly my favorite, especially compared to Batman Returns. Batman Returns is probably in my top 3.
Oh shit,
overall.
really?
Yeah. I love the uniqueness. You know, I'm one of those people, like, I don't like when things are too faithful. Now, of course, there's limitations to that. I love creative freedom is where I'm getting. You know what I mean? Like the Penguin in the Matt Reeves Batman, that one's more faithful to the comic books to a degree. This one is very unique. It's very different. It's very dark. It's very gritty for Batman Returns.
Yeah.
You pretty much get the Joker that you really have in the comic books. A little bit less comical and more not gangster, but like almost like Don Corleone. Like, you know, that's kind of what he is. You know, he's the Godfather in this world, right? He calls the shots. He's everything. He does this. He does that. And I love that origin story that he has in here. I would agree with Batman 89 as a B, because I do agree that it doesn't age as well, even though it's still a fun movie. Like, I wouldn't be opposed if somebody came over to, like, saw it on my 4K wall and picked it up and was like, hey, I want to see what this looks like. Sure. Hell yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I do want to preface this, like literally one of my favorite Batman movies is sitting in B. So like putting, you know what I mean? The Michael Keaton Batman as a B doesn't mean it's bad, right?
No,
B is like 80% plus. S tier is like perfect, right?
Yeah.
So I think I would agree. You're saying B for 89.
B. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably put it in B, but you can even argue, bro. Some people would even argue that the interpretation from Batman 89 isn't faithful to the comics because it's so much darker. Like he did kind of have it, like that costume that he has in 89 is really not, that was never seen in the comics prior to that. That was like a very unique take on the Batman costume, and ironically enough, it kind of propelled everything after that to look like the 89 Batman costume. Yeah.
The only thing I'll digress about is like the Joker being faithful, because Killing Joke came out the year prior. And of course, you know, he didn't read that and then shoot a Batman movie and release it within 365 days.
No,
but we still had that, you know what I mean, that darker runway for Batman coming out.
That's true.
The other reason in my case, I'd say Batman Returns. Honestly, I could argue S, but I would settle for A on Batman Returns for Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito. They absolutely destroyed this movie in the best ways possible. The little like boat scenes where he's kind of in like his little sewer underworld, very unique, very Tim Burton. Like, it just screams style and aesthetic that I don't think comes in any other Batman. I will argue that, because you do get the Joel Schumacher vibes and stuff, which we'll talk about pretty soon. But Batman Returns, I'd have to argue, is the pinnacle of this era, in every which way, from cinematography to screenwriting to everything. Because this is the same one with that dude, because he pushes Michelle Pfeiffer out of the window for her to become Catwoman. Yeah, Christopher Walken. It's just his whole villain arc is great. The dynamic between him and the Penguin and Danny DeVito is just great. The part where he bites the dude's nose off.
Oh yeah, you know what though, dude? Now that you're talking about it, and I'm remembering just her transformation into Catwoman, just like when she's in her apartment. Yeah, and it's you know what? I'd probably rank Batman Returns over, just because I think it is more unique. It is very different, and it's something. I would even argue Michelle Pfeiffer's performance is probably one of the best performances in any comic book movie. Like like if I had to make a list of like top 20 performances or something, she'd fall like within, I mean, probably top 5 for me, to be honest with you. I think her Catwoman is just so freaking iconic. And Danny DeVito killed it too. I mean, he did a phenomenal job, but I think her Catwoman really set the bar, man, with like what comic book movies could be. So I would probably rank, I mean, do you think Batman Returns is A or B tier?
Oh, I think it's either A or S.
Okay, interesting. So
I think it's one of the best.
Let's put it in an A tier for now.
We're
gonna have to start and the problem is we're gonna have to reorder B too, because we have 3 and B, so we have to start deciding like which one is number 1 within each tier, which is gonna be interesting.
And shout out this, a lot of people don't know, and I think a lot of people have gotten the hint that you're a big Joker fan. I think you've said it here before, but Penguin is actually probably my favorite comic book villain of all time.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's just there's something about him. You know what I mean? Like, you aren't supposed to take him serious, but he can also just fuck your entire world up. You know what I mean? Like,
I appreciate that about him as a character, where it's like sometimes he is kind of like almost comical in the sense where it's like this guy, he's not intimidating, but then he'll do something that's just completely intimidating and prove you wrong. And I think that's why I like his character so much. But that's cool, man. I didn't know Penguin was like one of your top tier characters. I mean, I think Joker is just, I mean, he's obviously just iconic. I think he's just the perfect freaking opposite of Batman. But I mean, the thing with Batman, dude, it's like I honestly love all of his villains. His rogue gallery is just so. I think it's one of the most like in-depth psychological thing where it's like he has the most villains with like the best backstories and the best motives. You know what I mean? Where it's like I can actually see where the villains are kind of coming from. So I mean, his rogues gallery is so much fun. But yeah, I don't mind putting it Batman Returns in A tier. I think it is more unique than Batman and Batman 89. And I think Burton, he did kind of it felt like he had a little bit more creative liberty to kind of do what he wanted to do, which I appreciate. So yeah, I don't mind putting that in A tier.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Joel Schumacher ones?
Oh shit, man.
You don't like them?
Well, this is where it's going to be interesting. You love camp. You love freaking just corny camp fucking.
Yeah.
So let me preface by saying this, dude. I grew up with these movies. Like, so to me as a kid, these were like god tier movies. Like everyone has to understand. I mean, I was like, when did Batman and Robin come out? That was like 99, I think.
99, 98.
99. So I'm freaking 10 years old when I'm watching this movie, and I think it's like the most freaking phenomenal movie that's ever been freaking produced. And I'm watching it on repeat on freaking VHS. Same thing with Batman Forever. So I think they look 97 and 99. This is going to be hard, dude. I mean obviously now when you watch them, they're just complete at least to me they're trash. Like there are fun parts that hold up though. I will say if I had Batman Forever is better than Batman Returns. I don't know if we can, or Batman and Robin. I don't know if we can start there. Is that fair assessment that we can agree on?
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know if you ever knew this, but Batman Forever is my favorite Batman movie of all time.
Oh shit! So that's what I'm gonna be going up against.
That's what you're up against right now.
Oh god, dude!
Dude, you cannot beat Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. Aaron Eckhart did a great job later on. But Tommy Lee Jones killed it with the over-the-top acting, and Jim fucking Carrey, dude. Like
I love his performance as Riddler.
Exactly, like for the Riddler of the time and everything about it, I am a massive Jim Carrey fan. Name me a bad Jim Carrey movie. Just like I tell people when it comes to Jack Black.
People are always going to say 13 when they think of
okay, that's fair. That's fair. So,
but he's a phenomenal actor, even when the movie's not good. Like he
gives it 100%.
Yeah, he always gives 100%, and I respect Jim Carrey 100%. And his performance for Riddler, I love it. I think it was a cool interpretation of the character where you see him kind of, he comes from like this kind of like self-conscious, like nerdy kind of, everyone's stomping all over him, to this over the top, like narcissistic. Like confident character, and I really liked that performance. I thought it was pretty cool.
It was great. Yeah. Even with the lady that he falls in love with, the biggest drawback for me is I think Val Kilmer is absolutely terrible as Batman.
I don't think he's terrible. I think there's nothing he does. To me, it's like he just took what Keaton was doing and tried to replicate it. I don't think he added anything new to the character. It's like
he just looks so dead.
Yeah, I feel like he just watched 89 and Returns. He's like, I could do that.
Yeah.
But that's a fair assessment. I mean, he's not anything like memorable. But he's not like trash either. I don't think he did like a horrible job with the role.
I do think he's the worst Batman. That's in a really fun.
That's
movie.
Interesting. So this is your favorite Batman movie, but it's the worst Batman.
Yeah, it's because of Jim Carrey. I mean, it was the first one I ever watched, and I had it on VHS growing up.
Okay.
So like,
it's like some more like emotional, like it resonated with you. Yeah.
It's what made me a Jim Carrey fan.
Yeah,
just everything about
Jim Carrey, dude. I really do respect Jim Carrey a lot because I feel like he's just a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, he's absolutely amazing. Giving me so many great laughs.
So this is going to be tough, man, because you're telling me this is S tier for you, like. Or this is
I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite. I don't consider it flawless for sure.
Okay.
Because this is the one where Batman starts getting Robin, because this is the one where like Two-Face, he has that vendetta. I do want to shout out these Joel Schumacher movies as being reference quality discs, even over the Tim Burton ones, if you have the 4Ks, because Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, with all the colors, the vibrancy that it brings, especially
HDR
the
is
part,
amazing.
They are things when people want to see HDR, I'm happy to show them that.
Yeah.
They look absolutely incredible. I would say, I mean, personally, Batman Forever, but I know you're probably leaning for a C. I'm on Batman Forever.
You know me well.
I want to put it in A, but it also feels weird on an official ranking. Like,
this is where shit's getting heated, dude.
Where putting it next to Batman Returns, but I feel like I could settle in the middle at B, which is the middle ground. I want A, you want C. I'd be okay with B.
B, bro.
A B.
Just throw it on there, and then we'll go from there. I will throw it. It could move, bro. I'm just saying. I mean, I'll throw it in there, but it's. And let me shout out to that movie too. I love the ending of that movie is a lot of fun. Like
with his hand coming up.
With his hand coming up. I mean, just even I like the kind of situation that Riddler puts him in at the end, where it's like, you pick Robin, you pick Nicole Kidman, even though he, has a little superhero way out, and it's completely corny, but it's a fun like climax to the entire movie.
Agreed.
And I like the whole Nicole Kidman being, I think she's like a psychologist or a psychiatrist or whatever.
Yeah,
that plot element's pretty cool. It's not as good as the Burton movies whatsoever, in my opinion. It's a big step down, but I think it's a fun movie. Like I like if it's on TV or it's on streaming, like sometimes I do pop it on, just like watch it. You know what I mean? It gives me kind of some nostalgia. But as far as Tommy Lee Jones, though, I thought he did okay personally.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything that was like unique about his performance or anything.
The biggest complaint I have about Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face is somehow in a movie where Jim Carrey's always over the top, somebody managed to be more over the top than him. And I think that was his downfall, in that movie. I think he did good, but Two-Face, I think he took the maniacal part. I'm not even the biggest Tommy Lee fan. I think he's just picked some weird-ass roles to be in sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, dude, why? Like, did you just take a check and just, you know what I mean?
He's like Harrison Ford, bro. He's like, how much are you going to pay me?
Yeah, exactly. And I think he has his stuff like he was in Tommy Lee was in No Country for Old Men. Like those very, very, very serious roles like that, I think is where Tommy Lee excels.
Oh, for sure.
And it's not to say that he can't act. It's just when you're right next to Jim Carrey, and I know this was still coming up for Jim Carrey in his career at this time. It's just hard to try to be as equally as maniacal, because Jim Carrey, I really never thought until we get later on down this ranking that we would ever get somebody that could even get close. But again, that's why I respect the Batman movies, is because the directors that have gotten a hold of these understand that they want to be tonally different and not try to copy and paste really anybody else's work. Yeah. All of these by the different directors, you can look at the Tim Burton ones. I could pop it in blind. If you've never seen them, you'll be able to tell the director that did them. Yeah, if I didn't tell you any of them, I showed you 89 to Batman and Robin, you'd be able to tell there was a difference in director come Batman Forever. Yeah. And then Batman and Robin. And then especially Batman Begins, none of them try to copycat it, which leads me to Batman and Robin, which I mean, dude,
can we just what the fuck put it on D, bro? Can we just let me say this, dude? I will give it this. I thought Uma Thurman killed it as Poison Ivy. I will say that. I think she was fantastic as Poison Ivy. And if she was put in an obviously like a decent movie, I think that could have been a really fun character and a really fun villain. I loved her as Poison Ivy.
Yeah, she was great.
I mean, I had a crush on her as a kid, so that probably didn't help. But yeah, I mean, she killed it in that role. And honestly, I'm trying to think. I mean, Arnold's just fucking silly. Like the puns, bro, in this movie are just so.
I love them. Ice to see you.
Ice. Oh my god, the Ice Age one. Oh my god, we'll kill the dinosaurs. The Ice Age. Like it's. I mean, do we agree it's D or?
I think. It's so different, right? Is it a coherent and good movie? No, I think George Clooney's pretty bad as I think he played a great Bruce Wayne. Let me say that. I just couldn't take him seriously as Batman. I couldn't take him menacing. He's a great actor, definitely knew what he was doing. It's so fun. Like, dude, how can you not have fun with a movie that he like pulls out a Bat credit card?
Dude,
Like, it's
my
just
soul hurts
so
watching that
fun.
now. It's so bad. I mean, like as a kid, I was like, "Oh, this is fucking badass." He has a bat
Yeah.
credit card. Like this is amazing. But it's just the story. I mean, like they did try to play on kind of like Mr. Freeze's story with his wife and everything.
Yeah.
But even though that was like a solid background story for Mr. Freeze, and it could maybe give us some empathy for him as a character, it's just Arnold is just he's just not supposed to be in that role, man. It's
Yeah.
just so over the top, and the writing is just so bad. And Bane is a fucking joke. Bane is like this, just like moron, like stupid goon who doesn't know what the
Yeah.
fuck he's doing. And in the comics, he's super smart. He's super
He's very
intelligent.
intelligent.
Yeah, very intelligent. He is a menace, not because he's strong, but he's so smart. That's part of what makes him menacing.
Yeah. He's not another thug.
Yeah, and I just think, I mean, honestly, my favorite part of this movie is Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. I think
So
she
you think
was
that's
having
worth
a
a C?
fun time with it. I'd still probably give it a D.
I
Personally,
can't digress against the D because, like, as a coherent movie, like I can't always gauge things on fun, right?
Mhm.
It's just like we talked about Abigail recently. That is just a fun movie, and that's
Oh,
how
yeah.
I look at these types of movies. Abigail clearly more coherent and a lot more going on for it. But whenever I gauge these ones, it's like I'll pop them on. Like, I kid you not, if I just want to get blasted in the face with bright colors, I don't put in an animated disc. I put in Batman and Robin. It is crazy how good it is. Almost criminal how good that 4K looks.
Well, it has all those colors. I mean, like even looking at the
So
poster, you have the
bright.
red with Robin and the blue,
Yeah.
like the blue blacks with Batman, the green with Poison Ivy, and all the scenes. Like literally, the color grading is just representative of whatever characters on the screen at that time.
Yeah. That's very fair. The biggest drawback for me is Batgirl is awful in this movie. Not the actress, but her story arc.
I agree with that. I think what's her name? Oh my god, Silverstone. I know her last name's
Yeah,
Silverstone,
Alicia.
right?
Yeah,
Alicia Silverstone.
Silverstone.
I think she did. Yeah, I mean, she's a good actress. I think that
Yeah.
she could have been a good Batgirl if they had written
Yeah.
her a little bit better.
Giving her a bit more time.
She's just kind of in the background.
Yeah.
Like she really there's nothing really for her to do because Batman and Robin are like, I remember they're having their kind of contentious shit because of Poison Ivy.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just kind of in the background. I don't know.
I'll give you this one since you accommodated me on Adam West.
Sure. I mean, I think that one's appropriate. I mean, it's not like, top tier for me whatsoever, but it's a fun movie. It's definitely just kind of representative of the time it came out.
I think
Whereas
had Batman
this, it's
Forever,
just bad.
yeah, like had those two came out and then, Tim Burton's, I think it probably would have aged a little bit better with the times. You know what I mean? If you had gotten Tim Burton's later, Joel Schumacher's earlier, but then again, that's such a hypothetical because you have so many years between them, practical effects, CGI, everything that's implemented. There would be a whole lot of what ifs in that category for sure. And then who plays Alfred? And my favorite Alfred ever is Batman 1966 because there's a time where he goes on the TV show and he like rides a bicycle to go save Batman.
Yeah, I remember that.
I love that.
I forgot his name, bro. Yeah, he was a great Alfred. I mean, to be honest, if I kind of look back at this filmography, I love all of the Alfreds.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they're all fun, like and incorporated pretty well with whatever movie they're in. Even the Burton one, he kind of comes in with like some tongue in cheeky kind of humor sometimes, and Michael Caine's great, and the one for Batman 66 is a lot of fun. Like they always incorporate Alfred pretty well.
Yeah. And wasn't it the same Alfred in all four of the movies, if I'm remembering right?
For 89 Returns, Forever, and Batman and Robin. And I think he was still alive at the end. Like that was, I thought they were playing into that in Batman and Robin. He got sick from something.
He died.
And like that. Yeah, I know the actor died, but like he didn't die in the movie though. They cured him.
So. Oh,
no, they remember they found that cure from like Dr. Freeze's or Doctor. Oh my god, I can't talk.
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze's shit. They cured him.
Yeah.
He was dying though, which was like that was kind of a cool. Honestly, this movie had some good like story arcs that just weren't fleshed out well enough. Like Mr. Freeze's story arc was solid. The stuff with like Batman and Alfred kind of pushing him to take on Robin, that was a good solid story arc too. It's just they don't play out. It's just overshadowed by all this like quirky, campy crap that it doesn't let the story kind of come to fruition.
That's true. And it just has too much going on. And I loved the scene where Uma Thurman becomes Poison Ivy. That scene's just beautiful. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like Jim Carrey's, right? Where it's like she was kind of like a nerdy, self-conscious girl, and then all of a sudden she comes out this like confident kind of, villain, and that's a great scene too. Besides Bane, take Bane out of the equation, useless.
I liked his evolution part, even though it's not Bane like from the comics. It's just dumb thug Bane where he just smashes walls.
Yeah, it's stupid, but let's leave it at a D. I mean, I think we're gonna come. I think we could probably agree this is probably the worst one in the series.
Yeah.
You said maybe, and you scared me for a second.
I was trying to see what we had left.
Yeah, I mean, it
really depends on how you're trying to grade it.
Yeah,
because if we're talking about something later on, I could have a debate for it being worse.
Yeah, for sure.
Batman Begins. Where do you rank that?
Oh, dude, you already know that's S tier for me.
The Batman Begins is freaking S tier.
I always tell people, like, if they, and we're gonna get into the Dark Knight obviously, because I mean all the Nolan films are the next 3 ones, but if someone told me Batman Begins is like their favorite Batman movie of all time, I can see why. Like I don't I don't agree with it, but I could see why. Like it's a close, like to me it's my number 2 of all time.
You think it's better than Dark Knight Rises?
Oh, 100%, like 120% times better.
I don't know.
What?
Dude, Dark Knight Rises has such a better villain, man. Acting, everything, just so much better than
okay, so we can so we're at the Nolan trilogy right now, so let's just attack all 3 of them at the same time because we kind of have to. Can we come to agree like Dark Knight is S tier?
Yeah, that goes without saying.
Okay, cool. Thank God.
I was about to have an argument for Batman and Robin being up there instead.
Since we already put it on there, do you want to talk about Dark Knight real quick? I mean, what made it S tier for you?
Great. Everything about it works. That movie should have been rated R though. I say 100%. That every single time. I've seen movies with half the amount that's going on in the Dark Knight get R ratings. I think literally they were one cuss word away from having an R rating. You know what I mean? That's the line they must have been writing.
Talking about that. I don't know if it was Chris Nolan or one of the producers talking about it, but it was like they had to cut some stuff to keep it PG-13.
There should be an R-rated cut because I do genuinely think the movie would have worked better. Just having that extra layer of reality, because it already is so good in its realistic approach. But the pencil trick, there should have been a little bit more some effects.
Blood, 100%.
Just to elevate it.
That was totally a studio decision. You know what I mean? I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure if Nolan was given free reign, it probably maybe could have been R. Yeah. But they're not. I mean, this is one of the biggest properties. They're not going to do a rated R Batman movie and take only like 2/3 of the profit. But I agree with you. I mean, like even the scene with a Joker with the mobster with a knife in his mouth.
Yeah.
Like that part. Like if you just showcased like him actually slicing his face, like.
Yeah,
that would have resonated like a lot stronger, at least from a film perspective. I mean, this movie. I mean, with suffice it to say, this movie's carried by Heath Ledger.
Oh, for sure.
I think for the most part, but I don't want to take away from Christian Bale because I think
he kills it.
He plays such a. I think with what the situation they put Batman in, with like him having to either like reveal himself or not, and watching people die because he's not revealing himself, like that is such a. It's such a like a moral conundrum, you know what I mean? And on top of him even seeing, I think this is why this is my favorite Batman movie of all time, is just they take the theme of kind of escalation, which you kind of see in Batman the Long Halloween. I don't know if you've read that comic book series. Yeah, I mean, there's that theme of escalation where it's like, like Batman is out and he's stopping and fighting crime and whatever, but like there's this like escalation with the villains that come out too, where they're more thematic and they're more intense because of Batman. His presence brings out like the crazy people, and it's such an interesting theme. And I think they nailed that 100% with the Joker and with the mob, the organized crime component. Like this movie just really, it took the comic book themes and elevated it with its own kind of realistic approach that Chris Nolan did.
Yeah, I can agree.
Yeah,
it was magical to experience in the first wave. I think I went to the midnight premiere whenever I was like way younger, and it was just a magical experience. And I remember so many people trying to say it was bad and stuff like that, and then just it Like, and then you had people coming on and saying that it's the greatest superhero movie ever made, if not one of just the greatest movies ever made. Because I mean, it's okay to take labels away and just judge it as a movie, not just because it's a guy with pointy ears. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Even as a movie, I could understand this being somebody's favorite movie of all time, and they're not even a Batman fan. I remember, I actually still have with the slipcover my original Blu-ray with the Best Buy sticker
bro.
and UPC from the day it came out.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember watching it. That was back whenever PS3s were your primary source for Blu-ray players and stuff like that. So yeah, it was really, really nice, really, really fun.
And the IMAX cinematography too. I mean, just this was like the first like big blockbuster, I think, with like IMAX cinematography, and then with the Blu-ray too. I think. I remember when that was a big thing when it came out, where it's like, holy crap, like we're getting, you know, the shifting aspect ratios on disc, and it looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
It still looks phenomenal. I think that's still probably one of the best looking Blu-rays out there right now.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, but Dark Knight is definitely S tier.
Yeah.
Which
I just don't see how you can like Batman.
Yeah, this is
more than Rises, dude. Dude, Tom Hardy kills it. That plane sequence at the beginning tops almost anything.
Oh, it's fucking
Batman
amazing.
Begins.
It's, I mean,
yeah.
So this is my problem with Dark Knight Rises. Two things. One, it loses a lot of its grounded reality. I think that the first two films set forth. And two, I think there are just some over the top sequences that, because of it just breaks from the reality. Like when his back is broken and then he's just kind of pushing it back into place, or when he gets back into Gotham City, when there's like military like patrolling the whole fucking city. And I'm like, how did you go from the Middle East to Gotham City with no resources, dude? Like everything was taken away from you. I'm like, and you just walk in there like everything's cool. I'm like, I'm asking these questions to myself while I'm watching the movie. It didn't make any sense to me, but it has some really powerful scenes, like that opening sequence with the airplane. I think him climbing out of the tunnel is probably one of the best sequences in the entire trilogy.
Yeah.
I think it's really emotionally thematic, and it gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. But it's just like it just kind of breaks away, I think, from the tone of the first two. And that's why I think I like Batman Begins more.
I can understand that argument. I mean, it's not like I don't like Liam Neeson's Ra's al Ghul. You know, I love Liam Neeson as an actor. He kills those specific types of roles, and it's really cool to see him work his way through like the League of Shadows, right? That's what it's not League of Assassins, League of Shadows. So it's really cool to see his, like, you know, just like he did in the comic books, you know, go in, do this, and then do that. I just think that Christopher Nolan with Dark Knight Rises, which I actually have, like, you know, we got a little bit of time. I have a fun story. Whenever this movie premiered, I got to see it 3 days early in IMAX, because what they ended up doing, dude, this was whenever you had to camp out for seats, man. You couldn't do this.
Oh yeah, I remember, bro.
I remember I was waiting in line for 2 hours, but they played all three of them back to back to back, leading up to the premiere of the third one a few days early for people that sat through it. And they accidentally showed the ending for 5 minutes of Dark Knight Rises when it came around.
No way, are you
and
serious?
Like half the theater got up and left to go tell them, hey, this is like, I didn't see any opening credits, no nothing, this, that, the third, you know.
Holy
and so like
crap.
we all freaked out. I don't remember the exact part. I think it was like the little showdown between Bane and Batman.
Okay.
It could have even been towards the end whenever you had Catwoman. But that's another reason I really like Anne Hathaway's Catwoman a lot. But I can totally understand what you're saying by the ending. It does feel a little rushed. It feels like
Bane goes out in such a crappy way, bro. He just gets gunned down by like Catwoman just comes in and just shoots him, and he is a good villain.
He's great.
He's great.
I think had the movie in general been well perceived, you could have an argument with Tom Hardy versus Heath Ledger's Joker if it had just been done and executed from beginning to end better.
For sure. I mean, I'd still probably say Heath Ledger, but I mean, Tom Hardy does an incredible job as Bane. I think he gives it's such a cool, like that mask. I remember seeing the first photo when they released it. I actually have that's the Tom Hardy signed photo I have on my wall. Like that one is it. I saw that, I was like, this is such a fucking awesome interpretation of Bane. It's like almost like a skeleton kind of looking thing. It looks so dope.
Yeah.
And his weird voice. I love his weird voice.
Yeah.
The Bane voice is like iconic. I think he is a great villain. And Anne Hathaway's Catwoman, to me, I've debated on the server with some people, is 100% underrated. I think she did a phenomenal job with that performance. Like, she's super elegant and super smooth. She's an incredible Catwoman.
Yeah.
it's just the story is just super wonky and kind of
I can see that.
It's just, yeah, I feel like it just kind of breaks apart, and it gets a little bit, I think it's mainly maybe the last third of the movie. I mean, when you have a nuke involved and him coming to the city, and it's just it's like all over the place, and it's a little silly to me.
I agree, especially with the whole Robin cop theme at the end.
That was fun. Yeah, I mean
that was goofy.
But it takes away from the grounded approach, right? It's like, oh, we're gonna throw Robin in there. I did like the final scene with, where Christian Bale's like at that restaurant and Alfred sees him there, and they kind of acknowledge each other. I thought that was a really cool way to end it.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, this movie. I mean, Dark Knight Rises has some of the most emotional movies. Like that scene with him and Alfred, where pretty much Bruce Wayne says, "I'm going to walk away." Or no, Alfred says he's going to walk away. One of the most emotional movie or scenes in the entire trilogy.
Yeah. I just don't know if I could rank Batman Begins higher than that, man. Okay, so like, where would you put Begins?
S tier.
Dude, I can't.
Behind Dark Knight.
Bro. I can't, man.
Behind Dark Knight, dude. Come on, dude.
I cannot rank
Begins is like the
Batman
perfect
89.
origin Batman. Like there's
I can't, man.
What is your problem with Begins? Like I don't understand. What's the problem with Begins?
I love Scarecrow. Let me preface that. That's my second favorite rogue. That's my second favorite rogue. So I will say that it's just, man, some of the parts are so freaking boring. Like I do find like some parts in that movie are just excruciatingly boring. Now, again, I will say I haven't even cracked open my 4K disc. I can't even speak on how the 4Ks look. It's been a few years since I've seen them. I've heard Begins is the roughest one out of the three.
Mm-hmm.
I might do a Batman rewatch soon, but I cannot rank it above Batman 89, man. Because I think 89 has way better rewatchability. I think Batman 89 has way better on a fun scale. Dude.
This one, I cannot put it. Okay, let me say this: it's S tier for me, but I cannot put it below an A tier. 100%, I cannot. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way it can go below. Like I cannot finish this video and keep it on a B tier whatsoever. There's just no way. I mean, we can throw it in the couldn't agree and come back to it if you want.
Yeah, so that we
maybe do that. Yeah, dude, we have 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, I just looked at the timer. We have 15 minutes left.
Okay, so where does Dark Knight Rises go for you?
I think I could put it like a or B tier. I think I have problems with it. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's beautifully shot. I think there's some amazing performances in it. I think the way it finishes, like the final scene of the trilogy, kind of the montage sequence, I think it's really great. I think it's a good movie. It just takes away from the tone of the first two, which is my problem with it. But I A or B is fine.
Okay, we'll revisit Batman. I think B, because I can see, like, I'd give it like a 75 to 80. You know what I mean?
Okay. I give it like a 70, like 75. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think this is like a pretty good spot. Again, man, I've seen that movie twice, and it's been so long since I've seen it. And so, like, whenever it goes so long since I've seen a movie, I genuinely usually only remember the good parts.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm struggling with Batman Begins. I can only tell you one scene that I liked out of that entire
Oh my god, dude, it's such a perfect origin story. And dude, like the ending scene with the Joker card, goosebumps. Like goosebumps, like when he gets the Joker card at the end and jumps off the rooftop.
Yeah, but then you get Dark Knight, which just shatters Batman Begins in every single
shatters
manner.
Like both. It shatters 1 and 3. That's the problem. It's just so fucking good that it shatters. But yeah, let's come back because we have 2 left. This one might be easy. I mean, I just don't know.
So I wanted to pose this to you.
Yeah.
So this is what I wanted to pose to you, because I could rank this 2 ways and even just put 2 different pictures for it. Theatrical, D. Theatrical. I
liked the directors a lot more.
Exactly, dude. I sat through Fantastic Four, Four Stick, that one with Miles Teller as Reed Richards, and I didn't fucking walk out of that movie. This movie, I almost walked out of, man. This movie was so boring, and it had so much good potential, but the Ultimate Edition really does save it. And I don't usually say that, like, there's things I usually like, cut this, make it shorter, because I don't really desire longer movies. But this is one of those times, what is it, 25, 30 extra minutes almost?
Yeah,
It's
it's like
a
half an hour of
lot
extra, but it explains a lot of like, especially like
of why I was just like,
Lex
why?
Luthor's like motivations, and also
Yeah,
like the whole thing with the wheelchair bomb situation. Like
yeah,
it explains, and also the stuff with like fucking Lois Lane at the beginning with her being in the Middle East and all that. Like there's so much more that it explains that I feel like the
yeah.
theatrical just rushes over, and I'm like, why is this person here? Why does this matter? Like
It's a
it
mess for
actually.
theatrical.
Oh, dude, theatricals, it was horrible. Like so I saw that one opening night with me, my
Same.
brother, and my dad. We went to go see it, and
Mhm.
we all walked out just looking at each other like, so,
Yeah,
what you think of it? And we're like, this is trash. Like it's just
yeah.
garbage.
And
But if we're
Batman wouldn't win in a
rating,
fight with Superman. That's one of the biggest things. Like I'm a Batman
no,
diehard over Superman, but dude, if we want to be realistic, he can just fly up, laser the shit out of you, and just go to Krypton.
my heart says you're right, but I want to say, I mean, if you've
I
read the
know.
Endgame Batman comics, he
I
has
have.
contingencies against every Justice
He
League member,
does,
you
but
know.
in this
So,
world, he just manifested shit out of his ass, man.
so are we rating the
I would say
director's cut or the?
so. Directors, just for the audience, I would say it's the worst Batman movie ever. Or not the directors for theatrical. I would say it's the worst one ever. But the
I don't agree with
ultimate
that. I think Batman and Robin
dude,
is the worst
at
Batman
least
movie ever
Batman and
made.
Robin has somewhat of a plot. You know, that theatrical
I mean,
things just happen. It's almost like a compilation video, like a clip show, like when The Simpsons would like, play their best of clips from the last 5 seasons. That's
yeah.
how I felt watching that damn movie theatrically.
But okay, wait. I gotta know. Are we rating theatrically or director's cut for this ranking?
I will say directors, but I just want the audience to know that I feel like
Okay.
that's the worst Batman movie ever made theatrically. Movie's dog shit.
Okay. You know what? I can say theatrically, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But director's cut, I would say no.
Yeah, no, directors, no. I love the directors way more. It's watchable.
But we're ranking the theatrical, right?
No, I'm just letting the audience and listeners know that
My
the
bad.
theatrical is dog shit.
It's dog shit. I mean, I could see. Let me say, from my perspective, I could see how someone could argue theatrical Batman versus Superman over Batman and Robin, because they're still like you still have. I think honestly, Ben Affleck to me, he did a great fucking job, and honestly, the warehouse fight sequence is one of the best Batman
moments
fight sequences. Yes, 100%. So that put, you know what? Actually, I'll disagree. I think that you could put Batman versus Superman over Batman and Robin, because just that warehouse fight scene alone is over anything that I've seen in Batman and Robin.
I can settle with C because I was stuck between C and B.
You can put it as D, but just put it over Batman and Robin.
No, see, the thing is I don't think the Ultimate Edition is under a 60.
Oh, okay, yeah,
so
I keep forgetting,
C.
dude. Yeah, director's cut. I could put it as a C, 100%.
Yeah, it's a lot better. You have two of like Henry Cavill's my favorite Superman. I love Christopher Reeve.
Oh, dude, it's such a fucking underrated Superman. He's look at the time, dude.
How long do we got?
9 minutes and 55
we
seconds.
Got this. Because
are you sure? Because the B is a mess
S.
right now. I can agree with that. I don't think it's better than the Dark Knight, though.
Hold on.
Because that I remember when that came out, that was a big debate with everyone. Obviously, it was like, is it better than the Dark Knight?
I can see the argument for it.
I can see the argument, but I think the third act for the Batman drags on a little bit too long.
I agree. I think there's just here's the biggest difference with that argument, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this is the first in an entry when you already had a whole other origin movie. You know what I mean? For Christian Bale. So I think for what they did, and you had to get I can't say this officially. I can say that I can see myself having Robert Pattinson be my favorite Batman. The way that he moves, and one of my favorite Batman scenes of all time is in that movie. Whenever he comes out like Michael Myers in the fucking subway and one hand beats down like 3 people, dude. It's menacing, and it's one shot just held on him, and then he just goes to town on him. I think the cinematography is great, and my expectations were that this movie was going to be bad. And it wasn't because I wanted it to be bad. It was just another Batman movie. You know what I mean? Another this, another that. The way that DC was kind of on a roll and this and that, you know. They work the best when they let people take creative freedom and they're not trying to establish a multiverse. My biggest problem is I think his cheeks are way too exposed on his fucking bat suit, dude. They need to just bring it in a little bit, man.
Like that makes it an A. Just drop it down. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but I do see that. Riddler probably being top 3 Batman portrayal in that one.
I liked it a lot.
live
I think
action.
his it was really. I mean, it was kind of very Zodiac-esque kind of interpretation, but I loved it, dude. I mean, I love how much of a noir this is. You know what I mean? It's just very gritty, very dark, very. It's faithful to the comics too, but also it's its own thing, and I think that's at least for me. That's why I love the Christopher Nolan trilogy, because it's like he's faithful with the themes of Batman, but he does his own interpretation of it. And I think Matt Reeves did the same thing. I think he took the themes of Batman, the essence of what Batman is, but he's like, I'm gonna make it my own kind of thing. And he killed it with that movie. I mean, besides the last act kind of running a tad bit long, I think it's a freaking like 9.5 out of 10. To be honest with you, it's a freaking almost flawless movie.
Yeah, I agree. I think personally, I know you absolutely love Batman Begins, but I see this as the ideal origin story for Batman. Now, Batman Begins came out at a different time where it wasn't flooded. I would say what Batman Begins would have had to have been the middle ground looking at this. Yeah, it was right around the middle of all the Batman movies, because we've had so many Dark Knight Rises, BVS, then you have Justice League, and then all his cameos, and then now the Batman. It's just a little over the halfway mark. I think it handles the origin aspect perfectly. Yeah, we know how he becomes Batman. Skip ahead. He's only been Batman.
It's like a year two Batman, pretty much.
Exactly. And I think he kills it. I just love his fight style.
Oh, for sure.
Like Christian Bale, they all have their own unique fight style, and then you have the campiness of the Schumacher ones. I absolutely adore Robert Pattinson as Batman, and that was the biggest surprise. And like his Bruce Wayne I'm excited to see where it heads. That's all I really else I got to say about the Batman. Sucks. It's what, 2 more years, 2025. But at least we get
the wait is going to be so bad, and I'm hoping he does something. I'm hoping Matt Reeves really jumps into like a different rogue villain, like just something that we have. The Court of Owls. I'm dying to see maybe Court of Owls, or I don't know if he could incorporate like a Clayface or Mr. Freeze. I don't know, but I mean, just give me something different.
Yeah, I agree. Bring in something different and original.
So let's work through. So we have 5 minutes and 50 seconds. So let's work through B, because like I'd say all the tiers are pretty good. Yeah, S is good. I think I'm comfortable with A. I don't know if you're comfortable with A.
Personally, I'd put Batman. I mean, it's really going to depend on the aesthetic I'm in the mood for. You know what I mean?
It really is. Yeah.
If I'm in the mood for like live action darker, I'm probably going to go for Batman Returns. But if I want dark animated, I think that's actually a great tier right there. Literally any of those are able to be swapped around for Mask Phantasm Returns for your flavor and tea. For B, I don't know. I'd probably say 89 right after, unless you think it's better. It's just they're so tonally different. Just like they're two very different types.
I'd probably put. I mean, to me, I'd put Dark Knight Rises probably as top of that tier list. I could be wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
And then I'd probably put. I'll give it to you because we're running out of time. I'll put Batman 66 right behind it.
Oh, and then for Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would put 89 as the next one, and then leave the rest as it is. Like, so for me, it would be Dark Knight Rises, 89, Batman 66, Sub-Zero, and Batman Forever.
Yeah, but I would see that.
I'm okay leaving it that way.
Shark repellent, man.
Oh, dude, it's just too campy. The bomb and the shark repellent, the surfing, like it's just too much. It's just and the dance, bro. Isn't that the one with the dance too?
No, I think he does it again, but that's from the original pilot.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, from the original pilot.
C director's cut. So we'll live B. I mean, I think B. That's something we can agree on. I'd maybe switch it out a little bit, but I think to compromise, yeah. C, I think that's fair for director's cut. Just to emphasize that people were strictly talking about the director's cut for that one.
Yeah, the Ultimate Edition.
D, so
dog shit.
So we're screwed on Batman Begins, dude. Because like I don't. That's the one we have. We have 3 minutes and 40 seconds right now. So like to me, that's totally S tier or A tier. Like you have to put the.
I can't.
Put it like last of A tier at least. Like just put it on the last of A tier.
I don't know if it's. I don't think it's better than Batman 89 or Dark Knight Rises. Because the Dark Knight Rises, I don't know, bro. It's been so long since I've seen them again, and it's not like I despise the movie. It's just I find it rather predictable, tedious, and boring. Like it's
right now.
It's like, dude, again, it's been so long, and I could probably go on a rewatch tomorrow and be like, oh, dude, yeah, totally S tier. But
well, that's not
from
my
what I
fault. You haven't
remember,
seen it in a long time, so just put it fucking A tier and call it a day, dude.
who plays Scarecrow in this? It's not the guy.
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy, yeah, he kills it.
So you got Cillian Murphy, you got oh my god, Liam Neeson, Michael Caine does a fucking fantastic job in the movie. You got what's his face that plays Lucius Fox, Morgan Freeman. Come on, dude. Like you got an A-list cast there, dude. Like what? Like that's over everything B tier. I'm sorry, it is. Like I'd have to put it at least like top of B tier, or that'd be my compromise. Top of B tier, but for me it'd be S tier or A tier. But I mean, we have 2 minutes and 11 seconds right now to decide.
I couldn't disagree with that. Even though I would probably pick Batman 89 to rewatch over Begins. I think it's a more fun movie and just more digestible than Batman Begins. And it's not to say Batman Begins isn't. It's just like it was one of my biggest things, and I don't think I've ever addressed it. Like, there's just times, and you could probably tell from what I've already said, it's like hyper realism gets a little boring to me sometimes and stagnant. You know what I mean? So like the thing is like I already live in reality. You know what I mean? So escaping into something goofy and fun is typically what I prefer.
Dude, but I mean I mean, if you like when he first turns into Batman and he's like at the fucking warehouse thing and he's like it like almost like scary, like when he was taking out the people and they were all afraid and you know, he comes upside down. Swear to God, swear to me. Like there's so many fucking good sequences in that movie.
There's a lot of good one-liners in there. I don't know, like there's just something
say we got a minute and 5 seconds left. Just say you agree so we can finish this challenge and call it a day.
Yeah, I think I don't think I could digress with this. I'd personally, I mean, out of all of them, I'd watch Batman Forever and Batman 66. The Batman is just, I don't think the rewatchability for the Batman is as high as some of these other ones, even though it sits up there, just because it is so long. It's not something that you could go and just pop in before errands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've popped in that disc at least 10 times just to watch that beat down in the subway, at least, though.
No, it's fucking great, dude. I mean, I honestly didn't think, I mean, so we have 30 seconds left. Is it fair to say that we finished the challenge?
Yeah, I think we
finished the challenge. So I'm gonna stop the timer. 30 seconds left. We did it, guys. But I did not think that we would be. I didn't think Batman Begins would be the one that would. Like I thought mentally, I'm like Chase would fucking put Batman Begins at S or A 100%. I didn't think that was gonna be the contentious film that we would debate on.
That's fair. Yeah, I honestly thought you'd like Batman Returns a lot more. I didn't know that would sit at A. If Batman Returns is S for me.
I can see how it's an movie. S. Like when we started talking about it, I think I do kind of I appreciate how unique it is because it's so different from all the other ones on here.
Everything, every single one.
Yeah, it's its own thing. And like I said, the Catwoman performance is like top tier, probably one of the best comic book performances that I've ever seen. So I mean, I wouldn't like if we weren't crunched for time. If at the last minute you're like, hey, can I throw this on S tier as number 3? I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Those would probably be the 3 Batman movies. I would tell. I mean, I'd have to throw in one of the goofy ones though. But yeah, I would say Dark Knight, The Batman, then Batman Returns for the pinnacle of Batman. If you could only pick 3 out of any of those movies, not including animation, because not everybody's into animation as great as that movie is, and it should get more adoration by non-Batman fans as well. But those would be the 3 I'd tell people to watch.
Yeah, I'd probably Dark Knight, Batman Returns, and I don't know if I would say the Batman or the Mask of the Phantasm, just because I appreciate that story so much. But yeah, I can see I agree with your assessment. I think we're pretty close for the most part. But yeah, there's just some that we I think B tier was kind of hard. And obviously Batman Begins was kind of difficult. Yeah, dude, I'd switch right now. It's like I want to switch some of these around, but I mean that's our middle ground. That's what we agreed with, and we finished with 30 seconds left.
It'd be very interesting to have had Will on here.
Dude, we wouldn't have finished it. I'm sure he probably would have been like, "What? Like remove this one up here?" Like, yeah. I do want to do this with Will though. I think we need to maybe think of another series, to kind of
this is a cool series.
Go over. Yeah, we can. I don't know what we're gonna call this, but I think we're gonna do more of these just because it's a fun it's fun to it's nostalgic to go through like older movies and rate them and, you know, just rank them and see how they add up, especially like after so much time has passed. So, yeah, guys, we did it we scraped by 30 seconds to spare, but we did it. And I can't believe it's Batman Begins. So that's the contentious one. So let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, where do you agree or disagree with this? Do you think Chase is crazy? Like, you know, like for not liking Batman Begins or thinking it's boring, I should say, because he likes it, but he thinks it's boring.
Yeah.
Blasphemy, dude.
Rewatchability. That's how I rank movies sometimes. But again, at the same time, you know what I mean? Like, but also at the same time, I know it's completely unrelated. Like, I probably wouldn't rewatch Dune 2 a ton of times, but I consider it a masterpiece. You know what I mean?
I could rewatch Dune 2 like quite a bit, but like Clockwork Orange, I wouldn't. Even though I think it's a very, you know, it's a classic film and it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. There are some movies like it's like they're classics, but I wouldn't watch them tons of times.
Yeah.
Citizen Kane.
Yeah, exactly. I have the 4K, but I don't know unless I'm showing somebody it.
I guess
I don't think I could. You know what I mean? That's how some of these kind of layer. Like Batman Begins. If I had to pick any of the Christopher Nolan ones, I'd just go straight for Dark Knight.
Oh, I think most people would. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a universal consensus with that. I just didn't know how much you love Dark Knight Rises. I thought Dark Knight Rises would have been a little bit lower. I mean, yeah, he's a great Bane.
Yeah, I just adore Tom Hardy. That's when I became a fan of him. And isn't it that's not the same? No. Furiosa Fury Road came out a couple years later.
Yeah, it came out a few later, but this is when he was like really establishing, I think, a name for himself because he had done Fury. He did Fury Road, and I think somewhere in between he did Dunkirk too.
He did.
He was in that film. Yeah, so he was doing a lot of different projects. So, yeah. All right, guys, let us know what you think, how you would rank these films. If you agree with us, disagree with us, comment, like. And if you've been watching these videos, which I think we've noticed that a lot of people have been watching, but just not subscribing, please subscribe because it does kind of motivate us to keep us going and put out some new content. So feel free to subscribe if you have been watching the videos. We appreciate you guys for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.
Later, everybody.
See ya.